Your fake smile looks just like Alice's old fake smile.
You mean this?
Okay.
I believe it. Okay, let me make sure.
Now me
Okay.
doing Alice's fake smile is gonna be.
That's gonna be. I know. Me going.
Okay. Welcome to this week's Rock Talks. I'm Perizaad.
Faizeh.
You guys are very patient to put up with us starting every episode like this. Anyway, this week we thought we would be a little bit silly. Don't worry, we're not doing belly dance ASMR again.
Good idea. I just don't think we quite knew how to execute it.
Yeah. But instead what we're doing is Faizeh and I are, well, actually, Faizeh, this was your idea, so why don't you explain what we're doing?
Okay. I admit that I stole this idea, sort of.
No, I don't want to do it. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, it's what we're doing. So my husband listens to Spitballers, and I don't know if you've ever listened to that podcast, but it's basically like just our friends just sitting around talking about stupid stuff. So it's like Bjorn and Matthew and Drew just sitting around talking about stupid stuff. And they're very silly. And of course they have like a theme for each thing. So it's like, that sounds like kind of like what we originally planned this to be. Like, what's your favorite song? Like, and I'm not saying that I want to get away from the heavy topics that we talk about because they're interesting. I've learned a lot this last year, but I also don't want to give up who we are, which is very silly.
Very goofy people.
You're very goofy people.
What did we talk about last week? Did we talk about a heavy topic last week?
No, I think, well, we talked about, which that was a good setup, even though you didn't intend it to be. This Saturday it's all about AMCAB. Is that what it's called?
It's so AMCAB Baby.
It's AMCAB Baby. Thank you. It's AMCAB Baby is this Saturday, or it premieres this Saturday. So if you have not already purchased a ticket, I encourage you to get one. They're only $10 for the show, and it's an all American cabaret show. So if you want to learn about that style or you already like that style, then this is going to totally be your thing. It's a diverse cast. So yeah, so that's what we talked about. We talked about, like, remember
that's right. We talked
about Cindy and
yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, because we do talk about heavy topics on here. Like we've talked about, cultural appropriation. We talked about slut shaming and all kinds of stuff. So next week we're really looking forward to our interview with Catrice, but we do get into some heavy topics with her as well. So There's a little levity. Not that we didn't have a very, very fun interview with Catrice. She was hilarious. She was a lot of fun, but we did get into some heavy topics with her. So in the meantime,
and now I will describe what we're going to do today. So we are each going to choose our top 5. If the Earth was being invaded by aliens, which Manette dancers would we choose to help us defend the planet from the alien invasion, assuming it's a hostile alien invasion?
Wait, Manette dancers or belly dancers?
Belly dancers.
Okay, because I was like, that was not the topic title. Not that I don't have like Manette dancers that I want to use, but I'm like, well, there went 2 of my people right there. Crap. Are we allowed to have overlap, or do we have to have separate teams?
We have to have separate teams, which is why I'm going to go first. So
let's go one at a time. We get to we'll be like captains of the team, and then you get to pick one, and then I get to pick one, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna fight over somebody.
Yes, but I feel like there's one person that we're both like, it's obvious, And so that's why I want to go first, because I want to claim her first. But yeah, we'll go back and forth. So, you ready?
Sure.
My first choice is Fifi.
Oh, okay.
She was, I thought for sure that we would be fighting over her because, like, part of me is like, she might just not care. She'll just be in her bed with her chips live streaming on Instagram, and everyone will just be glorifying her, and she'll be like, yep. And then the aliens will come and bow down before her. But that is why, because she'll just be her Fifi self, and the aliens will recognize that, and they will just be like, well, clearly we have to worship this woman, and they won't try and take over. They'll just be so smitten and overcome by her Fifiness.
By her Fifiness.
Her Fifiness.
That's her new title, is her Fifiness.
That's a good title for her. Her Fifiness.
Her royal Fifiness.
Yes, I am going to totally refer to her that way from now on.
She is now HRF, her royal Fifiness.
Totally. So that's why she's number one on the list. Okay.
Okay. You and I have very different tactics in choosing these teams. I've definitely feel like I've probably watched more zombie apocalypse movies than you have, which is why you're gonna hate me in this moment. But my first choice is Adrienne, because so for those of you who like have seen Adrienne perform, she's adorable. She's very talented. She's very personable. Personally, though, she is one of the most organized people I know. And she like is the one that herds the cats that are our little friend group. And we desperately need her leadership. So she is definitely going to be, and in her personal life, she has a particular job. She has a particular set of skills that deal with a lot of logistics. So she is definitely going to be the one who will manage like resource acquisition and timetables, and like she will organize the crap out of us.
That is a really good tactic.
Yes, she will also be able to beat the aliens to death with her canes.
That's what I was just about to say. She can do it with both hands too. And I have I have been whacked in the face by her with one of those sticks. So, and that was an accident. So I can imagine
when she means it.
I have whacked myself in the face with a stick, which is why you're probably not going to choose me, because I am not as skilled.
I have reasons why I would choose you, which I can go into, but my first choice is Adrienne for because she could also charm the pants off the aliens because she's adorable.
Yes.
But also she would organize this team and beat them to death with her Asaya. So
it's true, because if it were me in charge of the team, I mean, I can get it together in crisis, but she's got it together always. And so while we're like, what do we do? She's going to be like, Perizaad, there, Faizeh, there, Yeah.
And we'll just go, okay. And we'll just go because like,
Laura, we know, get out of bed.
we know better. We know better than to question Adrienne's authority on that.
There's no. And I mean, she's really good. So why would you question it?
Also, she's handed people, I won't say who, laminated. Well, not laminated, but she did hand them full itineraries for their trips.
Yes.
Out of town.
Yes.
Which they stuck to, and it was great.
Yeah, that's a really good tactic. I approve. Okay, my next choice is Katie Sahar, because she is just a badass bitch, and she would just waltz in and just take over. And I feel like we would all be safe behind her while she just handled it. She's also pretty organized, and and she's trying her hardest to get the belly dancers of the world organized as well.
I was gonna say, she's trying to organize the whole damn community. She's like, I don't care where the you're from, fall in line.
Yes. Get that schedule. Make a list of what you're gonna share. So yeah, she's really good at that. She's also really good at bringing people together, which we found with the Social Shimmy Challenge last year. I made so many friends through the Social Shimmy Challenge, which was her doing. So she's good at bringing people together, and then she's badass and would just, wouldn't take anything from those mean aliens.
That's a good point.
So, who's your next person?
My second choice is going to be Sahra Saida, because if there's a historical record of aliens and how ancient man may or may not have defeated them in an Egyptian context, she will be aware of it.
So you're pulling in the Stargate side. Anyone who did not know that Perizaad was a geek, you know now.
She is my Dr. Daniel Jackson, yes.
That's pretty good. So the knowledge in how to deal with them, how they dealt with them before. That's interesting. I like that.
Also very good at organizing people, also with all of her various troops, and here in the United States and abroad when she was living in Cairo and she was dancing in Cairo. So
she's just such a kind person.
She's a delight.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. All right, my next one is Rania, and that is because she is so. All mine are like tough people. Like, she's just really fit and strong and buff. And if you've never watched or if you've never utilized any of her videos, where her fitness videos, then you're missing out, because she's all about that, and she's like ripped. And so
how was that?
Ripped.
Got it.
So yeah, so she's like, I have to do the whole like if I'm gonna be, although I am working on it now that the gyms are open again, I've been pre-pandemic, I just wanted to be strong for my own health. And then over the last year, I've decided that I need to like be stronger than everybody. So, I mean, maybe not everybody, because I have Hannah and Aaron in my life, but
So, side note, speaking of that, one of the funniest movie posters I ever saw, unintentionally funny movie posters I ever saw, was for Daddy's Home 2. Daddy's Home being the movie with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, where Mark Wahlberg's like the badass and Will Ferrell's the stepdad who's coming in.
Right.
So Daddy's Home 2 is their fathers, and then also there's another stepdad who's involved for some reason. It's that Mark Wahlberg marries somebody who has a child with a previous person, and that person's dad is John Cena. But Mark Wahlberg's dad is Mel Gibson, and both Mel Gibson and John Cena are just so ripped that Marky Mark is literally doing this, where he has his fists behind his hands to push his biceps forward because he's so insecure being on the movie poster with Mel Gibson and John Cena, who are both just way more ripped than he is.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was the best thing ever. So
It is.
But back to belly dancers and Rania being ripped, and that's why you're gonna choose her.
Yeah. So I'm choosing people that can defeat them physically. And you're choosing like the intellectual route.
I have played too many D&D campaigns.
See, I have not. So
I'm stacking my deck.
Okay, who's your third choice?
Okay, my third choice is Laura Lael, because she's going to know when the aliens have destroyed the White House with the laser beam, a la Independence Day, and the American society collapses. She's going to know which places are safe to hang out in, because because of her day job as well, where she knows just, that's mold and that shouldn't be there in this facility.
She would
because she'll know that. Also, speaking of really strong, deceptively strong, Laura Lael is in shape.
She is, which is why whenever we're together, I cannot take my eyes off of her butt. It is just a great butt. So
also during the pandemic, when the first time all four of us hung out to do the first set of interviews that we did, she had been working out a lot and she just flexed her arm and I saw every fucking muscle and I was like, so
see, I have Laura as my bar that I have to try and.
So she can do the running attacks because she does Turkish and the cardio. I've taken one of her Turkish classes and I did not have the cardio to keep up.
Yes, I have taken her classes as well. And she's like, hey, let's do squat jumps to warm up. I mean, I do those for but she's like, it's like fun for her. And
yeah, she's like, she'll do squat jumps to warm up and then she's going to do Istimem Babachim at full speed. And you're just like,
yeah.
Like,
also, she teaches, I don't know if she's still teaching it, but she was teaching for a while a yoga for floor work class. So she's very limber as well. So she can do the whole matrix thing if the aliens try to shoot her.
Yes. And she will also be in charge of the physical conditioning of the rest of the group to make sure that we are ready to go to fight them aliens.
Why do I'm really starting to get a sense here. We each have two more to choose, but I'm really getting a sense here that you and I are going to be the first ones to die. So
I mean, I'm taking archery, so
I mean, I can throw an axe pretty well.
See, we're just all right. So I have to figure out a tank then, because apparently I'm going to be I'm going to be DPS. I'm going to be distance damage.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
okay.
And you can nail people with zills too in the head.
I probably could. Actually, if you don't know about this. So Rasheen and I started writing a story together. Mm. It's actually, she's waiting for me because it's my turn. And it's kind of it's like a game because we haven't planned out the whole story. I take a turn and write, and then she takes a turn and writes, and we have to go along with whatever was written before. So if she just takes the story in a completely different direction than what I was kind of trying to do, I have to just go the direction that she says she goes. It's really fun. And anyway, it's just something that we decided we wanted to do together. But I started it, and I started in a barroom brawl, and one of the characters is using, in my mind, it was zills, but they're like stars. They're like throwing stars to pin people's shirts against the wall.
So you know that Cherie, our friend Cherie, was writing a book about a belly dancing superhero
modeled after you.
Yes, and that the Zill Shuriken was a thing in that one too.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, I knew that she had written a book that was modeled after you, like a superhero modeled after you, but I didn't know that part. That's awesome.
Dude, reading the first 5 pages of that, I was like, my life has been stolen out of my mouth and thrown on this page, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah. I mean,
it was interesting. It was flat. Once I got over that, it was flattering, but I was just like, you took some of the worst things I've ever said to you and put them on the page.
Okay, here's the thing. You cannot be friends with writers if you're not willing to be characters. Because that's all we do is take our friends and write them on.
I had heard that, but that was the first time I had experienced it, and I was like,
that is, if we want our characters to be realistic, that's the best way to do it.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
So that's what I do. All right, is it my turn?
Yes. How many do you have?
I have 3. So I have Fifi, Katie Sahar, and Rania.
Yes.
And let's see. I was thinking Adrienne, but I can't have Adrienne because you took her. And I love your reason for Sahra. So I think I'm going to now go with, let's see. I should have written them down because I had a whole list. Who is your last one? Laura.
Laura Lale.
Laura Lale. So I know. I'm going to... I'm going to say Tonya. No, not Tonya. Atlantis.
Okay.
Atlantis of Tonya and Atlantis. Because she is an interesting character, and I think that she would distract the aliens. Okay, your turn.
You don't want to go into further detail on that?
She's gonna end up in a novel of mine. Just some of the things that I have, some of my encounters with her. She's just an interesting person.
Sure.
So
definitely, yeah. Okay, now I have to really, really think because I was like so like on Adrienne and Laura, and I got this. Now, like, now who? Can I pick a retired dancer?
As long as they're still alive.
Yes. Renee.
Yeah.
Because she, speaking of somebody who, like Adrienne, can just get organized, she is a doer. She doesn't sit around talking about her ideas. She gets them done. And then she's like, she's one of these people that are like, well, I was thinking about doing this project. She's like, I finished 3 projects since this morning because I got up at 3 a.m. What are you doing with your life? You're just like,
what are you doing?
Yeah. Because she's
true.
a doer.
What'd you say?
I was saying she's a doer, but you were.
Yeah, she is definitely a doer, and she just does not understand anyone who is not also like that type A, it's 2 hours of sleep and is fine with that. And,
so here's the thing. So she's followed this this really cool weight loss coach who has a very good she's a personal trainer. Her name's Kelly Coffey. She has a blog called Strong Coffee, and it's Coffey because that's her last name. And she's somebody who had been over 300 pounds, got gastric bypass, got thin, and after the first 4 months of everybody saying, oh my god, you look so good, realized she still wasn't happy. So she comes at it with a much more psychological, how do you take care of yourself in this moment kind of approach, which is great. And I had signed up for something with her, and she gave me a personal call, and I was like freaking out because I was like fangirling over Kelly Coffey talking to me on the phone. I was just like, oh, and she's like, how do you know? So she's like, so how'd you hear about me? How'd you hear about this program? I'm like, oh, I'm friends with Renee. And I said Renee's last name. And Kelly Coffey knew who the fuck she was. She's like, wait, you're friends with Renee? She's a badass. And I mean, and Kelly Coffey is she's like a Western Massachusetts, like takes no shit kind of lady. And she was like, you're friends with Renee? Like, she was like, wow. So Renee's a badass. Renee gives no fucks. Renee will fucking fight you.
She will.
She will fight you. She actually studied, because we've talked about our medieval reenactment group a lot. She actually got into armored combat. She got into what we call heavies combat, as opposed to, it's instead of rapier, which is more fencing, this is like where they take the big old wooden sticks and beat the crap out of each other with like actual armor and shields and whatnot. So she was in that for a bit. And I have seen her as a dancer hip check some people. And also one of my favorite moments from Faizeh's surprise birthday party was at when we all got together, we all danced, was when she managed to take the fringe on her bra and do something. I don't know how she did it, but she got enough momentum behind the fringe that she managed to smack some guy across the back of the head with the fringe on her chest. And it was the best thing.
Well, she did burlesque for a while as well. So she had the training to get the whatever.
That's what it was. Yes. So I claim Renee because she actually knows how to fight, and she's a badass, and she's hilarious, and I adore her.
Yep. She's pretty cool. Okay, my last one. I like have a whole big list again in my head, so I just have to. Okay, I'm going to say two. It's between these two. This is my way of sneaking in an extra person.
Wow.
Okay. You still have a turn, so you can sneak in an extra person as well.
Oh, I will.
Okay, so it's between Nicole, who always has a bunch of swords, because she balances like 50 swords on her head when she does that. It's between Nicole, and she always has fire. And she has snakes, and she has all of there's a reason her company is called Dangerous Elements.
She had all that just in the showcase she did for us.
I know. So she's got snakes on a plane, she's got fire, and she just got swords. So there's that, even though she herself is like really kind and gentle and sweet. I suspect there's something brewing underneath that could, I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with her. I wouldn't want to be on her bad side. And then my last one, my official last one, is Suze, because Suze would distract the aliens with her hilariousness.
Yes.
And then disarm them with that, and then, or distract them with that, and then disarm them when she brings it down and makes it personal, and all the aliens are then
start crying
and feel heard for the first time in their lives. So Suze is my last
Okay. All right. Okay, so then Suze is trained in opera, so she might be able to just like hit a high note and like shatter their brains, like in Mars Attacks.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. Okay, so then my last two are Dina. Because when she does that thing, she'll be able to just dodge the aliens. She'll just go, bah, bah,
It's true.
bah, bah, and she'll be able to like dodge out of their like laser beams that I'm assuming they're firing at us.
They're invading, so
they're invading. So she'll be able to do that. And then or I'm gonna pick Roxanne Shellaby. Because with Roxanne Shellaby, we might actually have a chance at diplomacy.
I was just going to say Roxanne is a consummate educator. And so she's always so diplomatic. And yeah, she
might actually educate the aliens on why they either shouldn't invade the Earth or should work or could instead do a partnership. And she could and why they shouldn't underestimate belly dancers.
It's true. She would be good. So
those are my picks. So my team is Adrienne, Sahra Saida, Laura Lael, Renee, and either Dina to get in close by fainting left and right, or Roxanne Shellaby for diplomacy.
Yeah. Mine are Fifi, Abdo, Katie Sahar, Rania, Atlantis, and then Nicole and Suze. So yeah. And I'm the first one that's gonna die. So all good.
I might. Like I was gonna say, my other tactic is just to stand there and be tall.
Well, you're really good at standing there and being tall. So
I can be very intimidating when I want to be. So, but yeah, it's so funny. Speaking of D&D campaigns, I always want to be like super slick and like kind of like a rogue or like kind of and I always end up just like Leroy Jenkinsing my way through the entire campaign. So I want to be a rogue, but I'm actually a barbarian. Just barbarian rage, like run through and tank. So,
all right. So that's our show. That was actually fun to think of. I mean, that's just silliness. Obviously, hopefully, our world leaders actually do something to protect us if we are invaded by aliens.
Hopefully our encounter with aliens looks a lot more like the Federation of Planets in Starfleet and a lot less like Stargate or Independence Day or Mars Attacks.
Exactly. So
Sure thing.
Yes.
So like I said, that's our show. Tell us what you think. Whose team do you think would win? Who of the two of us do you think would?
I was gonna say, who would you put? Leave a comment with who you would put.
Yes. Whose team would you think would win? Which of the two of us do you think would die first?
We know it's me.
I almost pulled you on my team because like you have a cult of personality that can happen that like you might just take in the aliens. The aliens just might be so enamored of you. They're just like, no, we won't attack the Faizeh. The Faizeh.
I mean, I am the Faizeh. So.
You're the Faizeh. And also, like Faizeh said, tell us who would be on your team in the comments below. Next week, we will have an interview for you with Catrice Feyruza. We're very excited for that.
Yes.
And we will see you all next time. I'm Perizaad.
Faizeh.
Please give us a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, that's been Rock Stocks. See you next week.